Alright, we're live, coming to you with Sooner on a wrap-up of 17.9 testing. We tested a few theories that I came up with. Are you still with me, Sooner?
Yep, I am here and ready to go.
Say hi to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Everyone.
The
That's my wife.
interwebs.
Hi! So, interesting enough, the when we started, we had these competitive towns, and it's kind of hard to see with the get the right sun angle there. We're up to we've averaged up to 50 at one point 52 players. I think when I did the last series, we had like 22, and I was struggling, but it was coming up from nothing. And you see the competitive cities up there like Nostradam 70 and Sala 66. So I had visited those towns and I was like, well, what are these folks doing different? So I noticed that there were a lot of these taverns and not a lot of other differences. I mean, they had like a third of what I had in all the stores. This one I own, and then the NPC stores, you know, have similar items, and they, of course, they seed them with cash on their own. So I did confirm that it's more than just the stores; it's the factory. So, of course, we plopped in some factories. Let me put some daylight on the. Hey, getting dark. There we go. Make it day. Let it be light. So that theory did pan out, and so that was, you know, we've tested the pies. We've gone through looking the food. It is a preferred food. So when you look at the happiness of each individual villager on the board, and let's see if we can get to the board without that first visual C crash. I don't know if Max is going to look at that, but seems to be a pattern. And at first I thought it was just me, but I saw a couple other people talking about it. Look at all that gold, buddy. I'm rich. You see
Jeez.
that? I know, right? I'm very successful.
Making bank.
I'm bankrolling. I'm banking. So you know, everything's going really good. We've still got, I mean, let's hit the backspace here. As far as cap, we're only 1348 of 2000, so we're getting there. You know, we'll get every wave that comes in, if it's even remotely close to the southern portion of the map, I'll pick up a couple followers. So,
oh, followers, not settlers.
Yeah, same, whatever, villagers. Look at that animation, dude. Check that out. He's sawing away. I've seen the
he
blacks.
does some great work.
I know he does. Yeah, I love him. He's my dude. Blacksmith, you'll see him on the anvil. So those are things that I never noticed before, just because of AI positioning. That all, I assume, just auto magically fixed itself in the 17.9 patch. So I mean, this development here, I'm not going to walk out, but because I've shown it in other videos, but it's spreading in all directions. They've actually almost, I had to move my perimeter out in all directions because they just keep growing. I've been dropping houses and selling them, and I highly recommend, at least for now, as far as AI house building positioning, to either pick up the quest if they're there. If they're not, just build the house, complete it, and put it up for sale. That way, when the villager, potential villager, comes into your town, he's automatically got a house. He's going to buy it, and it's going to be where you want it to be, and that helps you control your perimeter, which probably will be useful when there's walls, and you start to plan out what your city defenses are going to look like. But I thought I'd ask you a few questions, and I am going to stroll up here. So we've seen some posts about a lot of your suggestions, and what do you know so far about? I mean, we know carts are coming. We were told that. What do you have any insight or to share? Because I know right now AI is a huge priority. Um, just fleshing out those issues. Care to elaborate anything further?
Yeah, so the first thing Sci-Fi is gonna be trying to be doing is just getting around, making sure that the NPCs can do everything they need to do. He wants to make sure that NPCs that they don't need input from the player at all. They can build their settlements, they can set up things, they can set up economic structures, they can set up supply lines, all that stuff. And then whenever they're able to do that, they'll be able to go to war more efficiently. They'll be able to train soldiers because they'll have the gold, the food, the production, everything they need in order to build an army. So that way there's more complexity when it comes to wars and you can set up that kind of stuff. That's
Right.
kind of the mainstay right there is what
Okay.
he's looking at in the short term.
Yeah, and you saw my army tutorial on the 17.8. It, kind of looked like an organized mess with the formation. But, we did get the test off. It was successful. The function, yeah, you don't want to run over here. Look at that. I'll tame you right now. I mean, just in the pre-release before 17.8, I demoed that and I showed him and the changes that he made just because all I said was the call all army button was broken. He watched the video and actually moved the formation away from you because they'd literally block you. They'd all surround you and you couldn't go anywhere. I mean, I couldn't even loot a corpse. It's like everybody was competing for the kill.
Position.
And so, he just took all that information in and actually enhanced a lot of that. You see what I'm talking about? These construction, they started to get out of hand. So I built a whole bunch of structures, and
and that'll be, and especially with the building, like spreading them out all over the place, that'll especially get better once roads are added and we can kind of create a structure of the system.
Right.
And Sci-Fi still hasn't worked that out, but it'll probably be something like the roads will kind of generalize where the buildings go, or perhaps the buildings, whenever they set down, they'll set the roads. I mean, we're still setting that up. Sci-Fi is still deciding on what he wants to do with the roads.
Yeah, and people even mentioned, they said, is like city planner, things like that. And I think there's some other games where you can actually do some pre-planning of how you want to organize. And I don't really think, that those are good ideas, but I think I'd like to see more of the AI do that, just based on your layout, so of the roads. Do you know anything about the roads? Is that something or is that still being hashed out?
Sci-Fi is still hashing out on how they're going to work first. He needs to set up a structure for if they're going to. I mean, there's multiple ways you can do it. You can do it like Rise of Nations, where you set down a building and it automatically sets the road around it, and then it passes it to your town hall. Or you can have it where you build individual road pieces and you connect them everywhere and stuff like that. There's a couple different ways you could do that, and I think Sci-Fi is still setting it up to where which system he wants to use first.
Okay, all right. Do you remember anything else that was on that wish list that people were talking about? I mean, I saw things that were, I already know, like more animals, more wildlife. That's obviously already there. The bandits, and I've already talked with Kaifi, and I know what his plans are on that. And actually, he alludes to some of that in the interview that I'm still trying to polish up. Hopefully before the end of next week, I'll get that up because we had a lot of fun. He was tired too. That was right before he left. It was like probably 3 in the morning his time, and he was just finishing up the last of the 17.9. And I'm like, "Hey, you want to do an interview?" And he's like, "Oh well." I'm not gonna smile. I said, "What's new?" He did smile. I got him to laugh. So, yeah, just off the top of my head, I can't switch screens, but there's a thread on Steam.
Do you remember the name of the thread? That's what I'm trying to look for right now.
I thought it was Your Vision final.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Your Visions of the release game. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of good. Of course that's more of your ideas, but I like the fact that you left it there for a few because it's kind of a hot question on everyone's mind, and I know where he's going with that. So if you want to look and pop through that, and if you can address any of that from just what you know, so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah. So yeah, we've already touched up on the roads and stuff like that. Building plannings and stuff like that. There's a couple things like ships, naval warfare. I asked him about that a while back. He said he wasn't sure. So on that particular thing, sieges of like doing kind of Bannerlord style sieges where you go in and you build siege equipment, stuff like that. That also is being hashed out, but it will be something that happens, especially whenever walls and towers come into play, and those towers start being capture points that you need to capture in order for you to take over the town. You'll be worrying about, okay, I need to have enough soldiers to where I'm worrying about keeping this where they can't just come back and take that tower back and use it as a fallback point, as a fortress to defend themselves.
Right. Which heavily relies on AI.
Yeah. Yeah, so this will be, I mean, that's like the whole goal, is to make sure that the AI is something that can do everything and that you kind of set it up that way.
Yeah, because I know when we've talked, he wants, he doesn't see it, but I mean, I see it. Every patch, these folks become more and more real, and I think his idea is that, he wants your individual, even if it's multiplayer or not, he wants the behavior of the NPCs to be as human as possible. And I think, every developer that has NPCs that have free will strive for that. And I really think he's on. That's why I call it a niche, because I think he's really on the right track as far as aspirations, each NPC having their own aspirations. And I thought that was really cool. We talk about that a lot in the interview. The fact that every single person you see has an aspiration of their own agenda, and that's kind of what's going to drive the bandit. Some of the outcasts from other villages, the defections, which I've seen. I mean, in 17.9, you actually have people just get pissed off and leave.
Yeah, they'll just walk away.
Yep, they're gone, and you're left with the nothing, empty house.
You can see that in a lot of games. There are quite a few games where you just build a settlement, you go in, you have these NPCs that just kind of, they walk to work, they go back. That's easy to create. This is something that every NPC is its own individual person. Right. This is something that I've never seen done before.
Me either.
Sci-fi's on, and I think it'll spawn a whole new type of game.
That's what I said. I told Kaifi, I'm going to ruin the interview, but I mean, I said, we're going to have to come up and trademark or patent a new genre, because this is not anything I've ever seen before. It's.
I think this is a game that a lot of gamers have been wishing for a long time.
Yeah, and I think so too. And
that's why there's so much suggestions and wish lists and all this stuff pouring into there, because they really wanted this game and they have their own vision of what it looked like.
Right, and they just want to know, hey, is my piece of the vision getting in? And a lot of that stuff will come out in the interview too. We talked about a lot of content and the support that he's going to continue, and some surprises in there too that are just going to blow people's minds. As far as I'm going to say there's no cost to the content that's coming out after the release. So that to me, I was like $9. That, I mean, I'm like, yeah. Okay, promise me the next one you start out at like 40 on your game title, and I mean, it's a lot. It just blows my mind. I would have paid $60 for this game. So.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. Is there anything else on there before we? I didn't want to go too long. I know you got stuff to do, and I just wanted to wrap up the.
I was looking at jobs and employment in particular from Red Varg's post.
Okay.
He's talking about, so I can hire someone to get more ore, wood, materials, etc. One of the things he was talking about, but one of the things I want to expand that way is the shops and the taverns and stuff like that. Doing that, a lot of people complain that you go in and you have like 15. Some towns even have like 10 or 15 smiths inside of them.
Yeah.
And they'll have all these smiths, and it's like, well, why do they have all this if they're just going to, And one of the things we've talked about is an apprentice system. So, like, maybe, like, the master blacksmith is the only one that can build the blacksmith himself, and they have to come work for him. Or maybe another way to do it would be, like, they look at the town, they're like, okay, well, they already have a blacksmith, so I don't need to go there, so I need to go somewhere else. and stuff like that. And then we talked about hard limits too, like you can only have this building one time or two times in your settlement.
Yeah.
And we're still throwing those ideas up. That's a known concern. I just want to make sure that he knows, especially because that's what his question is looking like, that is being looked into.
Cool. Okay. All right. Yeah, because I'd seen the same thing. I just, figured it was something that just hasn't been fleshed out yet, or was, we've seen like the stable footprints for, future stuff. So much stuff in here that is, that actually you thought was footprint and not. It actually functions just like the town will. That's going to be changed. Let's see. We're just getting more and more people. Why is Baron moving me out?
I am unsure.
Oh, I got thrown into AFK. Well, they can still hear us through the feed, so I don't care. That was on TS.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else on that list we need to, just as my wrap up?
I'm not seeing any huge. I mean, we could go over here, and the way I look at it, and sci-fi looks at it, is every suggestion, every idea is important. It's not us looking at this and being like, okay, we chose roads, castles, and wall. That doesn't mean that I'm not saying that we're looking at those more and we're ignoring everything else.
Right.
Keep suggesting, keep offering ideas, keep offering wish lists of what features would be, because that's important to know what the players want as well.
Right. A lot of the stuff came from suggestions. Map view, just the simple fact that being able to tilt. That's all player suggestion.
Exactly. I mean, these are the type of things that the game needs in order to get better. If everybody just shuts up and lets sci-fi do it, it won't. It'll be a great game, but it won't be as great of a game, I think.
Exactly. So, all right. Hey, thanks for coming in and wrapping this up with me. I just you volunteered yourself in the thread for streams, and I didn't really have enough to stream tonight, and I'm pretty much done with the testing of 17.9. I'm just waiting on the next experimental patch to blow all this away and say goodbye. It was nice to be able to work on it for a week, but
oh yeah,
it's going to be fun to see. He didn't even get all of 17.9 done before they left, so for vacation. So I'm interested to see what, because he said pie filling, and I'm like, no, the pies are there. I'm making pies, man. So well, cool, man. Well, have a great evening, and thanks for joining me and sharing some thoughts to wrap this session up on the 17.9 version, and hopefully we can do this again in the future. And any comments you want to add or close out?
I'll just continue to play the game, continue to do what you're doing. Thank you for doing the videos. Thank you for contacting me and bringing me on here. It was fun to be able to do this.
Oh, cool. I'm too meant to the players, but I'll take any thank you I can get.
Take a compliment.
Yeah. But yeah, and thank you for the feedback on the forums to people's questions, because that's a pretty thankless job a lot of times, and I personally appreciate it. It takes a lot sometimes to take a rant and turn it into a positive, feedback. That's not always the easiest thing to do. So hats off to you for being able to curtail the drama. It's well needed and credit well deserved. So thank you. And Sooner, we'll see you next time. Same for the rest of you folks. This will conclude the 17.9 preview for the non-testers looking at content, and I look forward to seeing you in the next experimental update branch and all the new goodies we're going to be getting from Max with his new fresh start after vacation, coming in with a clear head. So Sooner, take care, and everybody, I'll see you next time. Until then, hasta la vista.
Break.